Right now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Crusader Kings 3 Sri Lanka here on the Lord Master channel. And also I would like to apologize for not, posting the videos of this new series as often as I should. But to be honest with you people, those first two episodes that I've recorded took a lot out of me. I mean, let's just say that my vocal cords were so sore that I haven't recovered fully for like 4 days later. But don't worry, I'm back at 100% now, assuming that I don't over, myself. But anyways, we will continue on from here, featuring Agarada Vijayabahu on 1072, which, to be real honest, for the first two episodes, we haven't really progressed much in the time, because we were still in the whole introductory phase of this series with learning all these all the things that you need to know about the Sri Lanka flavor pack and more, and especially playing with a bunch of mods that I like to use. And by the way, speaking of those said mods, that all these mods that I play in are still on their older versions. Yes, as of this recording, newer versions or versions that are up to date are available now for most of the mods I like to use, but I'm still using the old version because of one of the mods that I play with, which is More Provinces Expanded, which concerns with all these places and holdings that you can see throughout. So I kind of don't want to update that in case that this messes with the playthrough. I mean, trust me, I tested it on my other computer. I recorded on the laptop, while in my free time, I sometimes like to use my desktop. And on the desktop, when I tried out all these things, including an old save file, kind of like with this one, and noticed that it kind of messes with it, so I decided, okay, back off on that. So you could say that for the rest of this series, these mods will be on the old version, and I don't know how long this playthrough is going to last before it starts, CTD more often than not, which is all dependable. And you can best assume that by the time this series ends, then next DLC Crusader Kings 3 comes out, and I start a playthrough from there, and then all these mods aren't up to date if they're still running. It's almost like I'm a bit behind the times on this, as of with my recording schedule. But anyways, right, we are fresh off from a grand tour, which was the taxation tour to be exact, and we won't be able to do that again for another 9 years. And also for future reference, regarding notifications. Notify that, just for future reference. Knowing how important that is. Also, I have not yet granted privileges to Budal. In which, how's that man doing? Is he healthy? He's fine. Milk Mother's ceremony. +1 fertility, small boost, a little bit of Heidi. It's one of those Sri Lanka flavor events. It's related to anybody that lives within the area. Which one of these days has, in case if I'm doing nothing at all, maybe those little events pop up so you know about the day-to-day life of Tambapanni. Its control is 93, which I remember Dark Ages. That if you get the control back up to 90, you're no longer in danger. If it's below 90, you're in danger. So, switch over. Glad to see that everyone's cooperative, except this man. Refused liege demand. Now, normally I would just imprison a man, but look. Success chance is 48. Getting a hook on him, then he'll more than likely to say, okay, I'll take my punishment. his his intrigue level is 0, whereas mine is 8. Even with that small increase of intrigue, that's still not enough. Back to general assistance. Now, what's the best way of getting rid of this man? Once again, this is the man that I've offered him vassalization, and he's the one with that came in with low taxes and normal. I could modify that, but that'd be an act of tyranny, and it's unjust. As I'm trying to roleplay here to be a just ruler. And you can't fabricate a hook on him because that's unjust. Even though it would be successful. Because he's a trusting fellow. But no, I just gotta do things that way. Now, normally a man of justice would just imprison him right away. But of course, if he refuses, that's rebellion. And this is the last thing I would ever want to do. As they're both neck and neck with accumulation and purification. Look what happens. Attack someone in a war. Defend against attack in a war. Regardless, any kind of war leads towards the purification phase. I don't want that. And of course, the nicest thing in the world would be just to grant him pardon. But he already likes me well enough. So we'll just leave him be unless I can, I don't know, get a hook on this man somehow. There are ways, but plus I'm trying to learn Tamil from him. Which, isn't that part of accumulation? Learn the language of a involved ruler? Let me see. Learn the language of an involved ruler. Which, by the way, the struggle involved, and I never showed you this in the past 2 episodes. There's 18 participants, including mercenary captains. These are the faiths that are involved. Theravada, Srikula Shaktism, Yakaism, which is the native religion of the Veda people, Shaivism, Ari, Vajrayana, Mahayana. And only 2 cultures involved. The Sinhala and Tamil. No Veda. Who are the Veda? Since I just mentioned them. Are there any around? We'll get time moving along soon. That's religion, dummy. Where's culture? Perhaps there aren't any at the moment. But perhaps maybe the event will pop up because sometimes you may get them. Now, we've acquired this amount of gold from the Grand Tour, so I thought maybe we should start building buildings. But what's the one that would cause an increase to... make ritual deposits. Construct a building in a city holding. But they never say anything about building temple holdings, right? No, there's no mention of holdings, but there is build a large Buddhist religious site, but there's a flaw in that. This is a decision I could do. Grant land to temples and monasteries. I wish to donate some land I own to local temples and monasteries in India, or Sri Lanka, but the Buddhists do not, as they play an important role in cultivating underdeveloped territories on our frontiers. From now on, as part of this land grant, this land and its revenue will belong to them. So this is a thing that's available for anybody that lives in India and Sri Lanka. You can choose to grant the land of institutions of a dharmic religion in the domain. Each county you own gets a county modifier, reducing tax, increasing development growth, and a stronger effect to counties of at least 1 church holding, which there are none in my capital. If you follow the faith of the dharmic religion you chose, the modifier grants extra popular opinion. If you do not follow the same religion, it grants the development of growth instead. There's a very small chance that your counties will convert to a random faith of the religion you picked. You'll gain up to the cap of 300 piety and prestige, depending on how many counties are affected and how many have church holdings, which there are none. And yes, India, the region, and that includes Lanka. Now, for historical context of this sort of thing. Land grants to religious institutions was an important recurring practice in Indian history during late antiquity and medieval period. These could range from individual plots of land, or even entire villages. Rulers who sponsored many different sects, and they were seen as a tool to expand their influence, as well as that of religious institutions, into frontier lands that were previously only tightly controlled, if at all. You could choose Buddhists, Hindus, or Jains. But obviously, this is the land of the Buddha, so we have to go for Buddhist. But if you chose somebody that does not follow that faith, then it's just extra development growth. And if you do, then it grants a favor. But since every Buddhist county just gains a modifier reducing tax, but increases development growth. Now, before I make that decision to choose Buddhist, which again, the land grants, that's plus 10 towards this. Chose it in any other ones? Non-Buddhist land grants, that's purification. Use a hook on an involved ruler, that's purification. I guess we'll have to let that go, even though the man's very nice to me. Wait, how much is progress when building a building? Okay, 1, that's not that big of a deal. Although we're going to soon get everything under control, which will increase the domain tax over time, bit by bit. This may sound like a bad idea in the long run, but I'm going to do it. Give it to the Buddhists. Prepare the land grant. Oh man, that reduced it by half. As the Agarada in India, Sri Lanka, or Tambapanni, one way I can grant merit is by giving land grants to religious institutions like temples and monasteries, even those of a different sect than mine. They thusly aid rulers like myself by expanding agriculture and economically and politically integrate these frontier regions under our authority. I decided to grant some land to a number of Buddhist temples and monasteries in my territories, much to the delight of the Buddhist faithful who live there. Although doing this transfers revenue from these lands away from me, it is for a good cause. At least it will reflect well on me in the eyes of the Buddhist community. May this bring me great merit. And I lose the stress because I'm zealous. Again, that's something that he would do at the expense of less tax. That's for 10 years. Without a church holding, which I do not have. But for major ones, which are those with a church holding, got you this. Activate to give out land grants catalyst. As it did. Gotta keep going this way. Anything else before we finally get time moving along? No, I don't think so. How old am I? Because I was thinking about the university visit, which is something that we have not yet experienced in this series. But those tend to be really expensive. And I'm expected to live long. I'm in good health. Because I'm strong. So why not? You're never late for a university visit. Spend a semester at the renowned Center of Studies, learning from the wisest minds of the land. It is an occasion to fill the gaps in your youthful education, but also to improve yourself all around. Develop your skills, learn new abilities, and make important connections. So the anticipated rewards from hosting a university visit activity is that you may upgrade your education trait, maybe military. You may gain skill points, lifestyle experience, lifestyle traits, book artifacts, or even a highly skilled character that may be recruited. There are many monasteries, and not monasteries, large religious centers and other universities, but we have one right here. There's no cost to travel, so that wouldn't be necessary. So there's two attempts. Study hard, where you came a long way to study and you plan to make the absolute most of it, or the Galactic lifestyle. Tend to experience the life of a student inside and outside the walls of the university. If I was a more gregarious character and looking to make friends, I would do that. But I'm 42 years old. I don't need more friends. I'm here to study hard. So there's scrap parchments, which will cost you none. Oh, really? I didn't know that. But these tend to... Whew! Give me the library knowledge. Increase activity, success, progress, illustrious book artifact, and a random skill point. Centers of Studies have an active market for knowledge. You can't miss a chance to exchange your books and buy many new ones. Okay, this is the last big thing I'm going to spend, because money's going to have to be saved for future projects. Here to improve myself. That'll be 6 days before it begins. So here's these studios. Scores 10. If you get up to tier 1, you gain lifestyle experience and low chance to upgrade your education trait. Which, by the way, it is 4, but it can be upgraded to 5 if you're very, very good. Gain a perk point, medium chance to upgrade your education trait. Good studies, 2 perk points, high chance. And the last one, perfect, 3 perk points, very high chance. So, let's study. As I said before, you're never too old to go to university. Here I am, finally at the gates of Taberna, the renowned university seat. All knowledge is collected inside these hollow walls, and scholars of repute from all over the world assemble in these same hallways to preserve and increase their true wealth of wisdom, and I'll soon join them. Of course, major centers of culture are also active markets that offer all the distractions that the student could ever desire. Time to get started. Alright, who's here besides myself? Bodyguard, caravan master, a wanderer, another wanderer from all the way from Malvi, Jam, Telugu, Arjan, and another bodyguard. So these two Jayans here, they're the teachers. And this wanderer is a student, while I am a noble student. It'll be 7 months. I aced an assignment. My university visit becomes slightly successful. Alright. I wrote a little poem. A cat hunts for mice. Me for knowledge. So far so good. Vijayabahu, one of the most respected teachers of Tirukamala, or Vijayabahu. Is that what that capital was supposed to be? Of where I'm at? Vijayabahu, yeah. Anyways. This man here is clearly a foreigner. His accent and mannerisms betray him as a Telugu. While not strict medically necessary for my studies. Learning his mother tongue would foster a privileged relationship with him, which is bound to be a good investment for the future. It doesn't mean you learn this changes scheme, but 53% chance that I go close to him. Well, I'll become much more successful. 46% chance that I would. I mean, I'll still gain a much nicer experience, but I would not be successful learning that language. Or I can't get distracted by this mix. But as an ambition, I say this will bring me closer to the Magister. This is probably not going to be good. Nope, didn't learn his language, and I gained distress for that. I spent the night poring over books. Gained a little bit of stress, but slightly more successful. I have just received news that the monastery which I've ordered built a while back has finally been completed. Already the bhikkhus are taking residence within its walls. They'll be able to provide for the spiritual needs of the community in no time and transfer the facility to the local center of learning. It is simply beautiful. Normal parties, some prestige. Funded that construction, which will help me a little bit with the lifestyle experience gain. 25 trade experience as a major Jetavana patron. And also the prominence is increased by 20 for the Mahavyara and the Avayagiri, while as a Jetavana patron, 25. Yes. That's another one to the accumulation phase. Interpretation of Pali manuscripts was lauded. Not there yet. Teaching here takes place in the most part in oral form, and students are encouraged to exercise their rhetorical prowess and show their progress of learning in debates in front of their peers and teachers. Today, Pralayavama asked me and Karnpal to take up opposing sides on the topic of trigonometry problems to discuss it out. Ooh. Again, he had more wit than I do, that's why I wasn't able to learn it, but for him, this will be easy. Also, I didn't see you before. Another giant from Kanaji. Let me begin from the Buddha Vakana. As everyone knows, 85% chance that I'll lose some stress while my position is stronger with the teacher here, and my studies become much more successful. 15% chance that I'm somehow outmatched and gain a bit of stress, but still be slightly more successful. I won the debate. Alright, I'll gain some lifestyle experience for this. But low chance to upgrade to trait though. Knowledge impressed him. Spent the night poring over books for him. Listen to me, Karnpal shouts maniacally. If you read between the lines in the perfect state, it's obvious. You just need to combine a rock, a piece of ancient salted beef, and a spear, all while adhering to the principles of reason versus faith. Trust me, it'll work. Perhaps it wasn't a good idea for Karnpal to study 36 hours straight. Oh, he is an eccentric. His behavior is seen by others to be erratic and irrational. This is a newly added trait in a recent update of Wards and Wardens. So I must have missed that part that he's an eccentric. No wonder. I'll just say, I don't have time for your nonsense, Karnpal. I've been corresponding with your love. This is Chancellor. I must say that I've come to see a new light. Perhaps even someone that one day I'll be proud to call my friend. Your silver tongue is shining today, Ravi Deva. We're improving relations with our former enemy. Aced an assignment. Yes. And I aced another assignment. I'm suddenly distracted from my midnight studies by a loud, ear-deafening slam and an expensive sounding chatter. What in the world is going on? The source of the disturbance appears to be two peasants. Siddhartha knows how they got in here, ravenously gulping down a barrel of the university's invigorating herbal infusions. This'll teach them Yeah, I think they're just better than us. They think they're better than us just because they can read the other falls. Kamandiga. Jewish. Which Malabar is. That they view as a stray, and we view them as a stray because of Eastern syncretism. The other. Shall I follow through this woman here? Let me see. Imprison these two. Why on earth would I want to do that? I can bring those two in. One's a wise man. I'll just, well, I'm a man of justice, so I'm a fair man. I'll just say, oh, those poor unfortunate souls. I will see that you learn how to read. So I'm willing to spend my money and prestige for this. My university visit studies will become much more successful. And these two people here will join my court. I mean, you'll be of some use to us. While their learning skills for both of them increases by 8, and they join in on the university visit. I mean, look at him. How are you even a wise man? You two are dumber than a bag of rocks. If that's the phrase that's correct. So, yeah. Three months left. Two months. Nothing's happening. Today, our teacher begins. We are going to examine the anatomy of a falcon. The excited murmur spreads throughout the lecture hall as we all appreciate the hooded bird standing proudly on the teacher's gloved arm. Much can be learned by studying the body of animals, as the ancients taught us. Does anyone want to help me with the dissection demonstration? Well, you gain stress either way, but I'll say, I volunteer to help. It's much more successful. So now you will get a perk point. Study poly manuscripts. Doubtful that I can get up to this, but now it's a medium chance to upgrade it, which is basically 50-50. Universities and centers of higher education are always bustling hives of socialization. In these hollowed halls, the students are all peers, all apprentices along the road to knowledge, which is why it can be helpful to make friends and feel part of the community. At least, my first thoughts when Hujata approaches me, a suspicious grin on his face. Join me and my friends, Vijayabahu. Prove us the resilience of the Agarada by spending a whole night partying, and we shall consider you one of us. Oh, great. Party animals. University connections. I'll say no thanks. Sure, delicacy from home country of everyone. Alright, that's it. This has been such an amazing experience. When I left, I couldn't even imagine the number of wise men that study at Vijayarajaputa. The depth of their thinking and the breadth of their research, just being part of the same environment has made me a much better person. With my newly gained knowledge, I can make my way home very satisfied. Knowledge is power. I've become an exalted warlord, which is the upgraded. This is tier 5. So not only increases martial skill, but also some stewardship as well. And faster army movement speed, army siege weapon effectiveness is up, along with the monthly martial lifestyle experience and stewardship lifestyle experience. Which, by the way, I was thinking about switching over to stewardship once I'm done with getting one more perk at least. So, knowledge is power. And also I've been granted this artifact. Agarada Vijayabahu's About Warfare. An elegant tome containing an excellent advice and ruminations regarding chivalry and courtliness. The cover is wood that's been painted to display a repeating image of a majestic bird. Perhaps the falcon that we dissected. I don't know about that. This is brilliant. So, that was the first time I've actually tried this, and it was a huge success. I mean, it was a medium chance, and you got it. Okay, so I'll get this. This is just for faster control gain. And let me see. Okay, I know what to do. In one more year, we'll get, we'll go for a man's home, which is more territory defender advantage. And last perk I will pick up Enduring Hardships, which increases the fort level everywhere, at least in the counties I control. And enemy occupations do not lower control, so we'll be much more defensive intensive than ever before. And put this down. $11 months now. Way to go. And at least we'll still be getting some tax up with my increased stewardship. Provisional catastrophe. This is from Friends and Foes. The morning chorus of twittering birds accompanied me down to the cellar. The light of dawn given way to gloomy darkness, lit only by sputtering lamps. I yawn and stretch as I go, my feet pattering across the floorboards. Once my eyes adjust to the lack of light, a culinary tragedy is unveiled by woven. Apple cores, scattered crumbs, bones clean of their meat. In shock, I look around the entire room, but everywhere my eyes land and they find more evidence, suddenly in the corner, a soft, contented purr. This person, the wife of... Ah, yes, I remember you. I remember all of you. Family wouldn't like me if I were to do that. And there goes my money. But I'll be nice. I'm a fair man. I'll just say, my treat, I guess. Because I'm just. Seems as if my studies of the Tamil language has reached the ears of Anita Balatraya. She's a native speaker and is offering help in my studies. I ask no more, a token reward for my efforts, Agarada, she says, laughing. Well, she's just a courtier. I'll just say, a favor for a favor? I mean, what the hell she's going to use that hook for? She's just a courtier. She'll do nothing with that. So now I have an 88% chance of success of learning Tamil. I'll hold court in the next year. We better catch up. Let's do it. 1st February, day we hold court. In order to be a successful ruler, I must actually rule on the various dilemmas and situations which arise within my sphere of influence. By officially inviting all my subjects to travel my castle and petition me for aid, I'll be able to stay informed, sway to balance power, and visibly show the world that I'm in charge. This will increase the court grandeur. I'll invite guest subjects that may petition me for assistance. I may learn exclusive opportunities. I might be able to influence situations in foreign realms. I might gain additional court grandeur. I may gain or lose opinion, prestige, gold, and more. Again, this is for the new viewers that are watching that may not be familiar with this. Sitting on my throne, I gesture for my guards to open the doors of the hall. The stream of people file in, some lining up in front of my throne, while others move out of the way so they can simply observe the proceedings. After several moments, all movement in the chamber has ceased. All faces turn towards mine expectantly. In front of me, I count 3 petitioners lined up in an orderly row, waiting for me to call on them. Gesture for the first line to approach. I will listen to the first petitioner. My Radha Buddha Pakari Sa Panama Parakasari Panma stands for me. A hopeful expression on his face. My lord, I couldn't help but notice, but in recent times, the realm's finances have not been the healthiest. Of course, you have been administering them eagers. But perhaps you might find some use for some extra gold. I'm willing to buy a minor settlement off your hands in exchange for a generous sum of gold. Would it be acceptable? One second. Where is where? Yakala, that's over there. In the jungle. A castle in the jungle. Good defensive position. Because you see, defender advantage. A baron is to live there. Yes. I'm sure you can offer a bit more. Because we don't make much in tax these days. So, 68% chance that he'll accept to pay more, which will be 350 gold. 31% chance that he stands by his last offers and made me look like a greedy fool for this and paid me 250. But regardless, the jungles of Yakara will be the site of a new castle that is to be built there. And he will be its baron. Or whatever is the term in the Sinhalese language. Well, actually, you're Tamil, so. Alrighty then. Plus, he's Hindu, so give it in. Nope. I mean, it's still good money. It's still good money. I just got a little greedy, that's all. A man who approaches my throne is clearly a commoner. My lord, he begins his speech, I represent the local community of Vijayabahu. In the last few months, our cemeteries have been plagued with the disappearance of bodies. All have been dug up and left no trace. At first, we feared wild animals or obscure powers at work. Then, your own court physician, Siddhartha, was caught red-handed, hauling the dead away for his experiments. Please put a stop to this blasphemy. Who buries their dead? Because if I recall, in both Hindu and Buddhist faiths, they don't bury their dead. They cremate them. Unless it's one of those local Jewish or Christian cemeteries, one would think, because they bury the dead. Again, I'm just trying to roleplay the fact of how does this work around here, and who lives what in that area at that time. After all, you're the one that brought in the Middle Eastern community. It will cost me 200. But as I'm zealous, I mean, you've been good to me, but this time you've gone too far. Guards, arrest the grave robber. He was also my current master. Your penalty is... I was about to say, can I ransom you? Whoa. Yes, there you go. Your penalty is banishment. So that way we can confiscate the gold off of him. The one that I paid him for. Well, now some of that goes back to me. So he's gonna leave in days. Over the last few days, I've heard tell of a mighty hero of the peasantry who has won the hearts and minds of the common people through incredible deeds and matchless bravery. This hero, who goes by the name of Vikrama, who has been defending the small folk from the Tamil raiders, and has now traveled away to Komali, basically. Just to get honest with me. There is no doubt that Vikrama is a great hero. However, my court are adamant that I do not elevate a commoner beyond their station. Oh, a mountain of a man. As he's giant. You're a best one. Let me see. Grant him a county or... Whoa, wait a minute. Grant Vikrama the county currently held by him, thus angering this man. Crusader but solidifying his loyalty as a vassal. Although I've always wanted to arrest this man for not paying me. So, I don't usually do this, but a true hero deserves a position worthy of his skills. So in other words, Vikrama is the new vassal while we kick him out. Right? Would that be a wise move? Oh no. So that way I don't have to pay him, but strong hook on him out of loyalty, which I can, just the contract to pay more tax. Or just pay him and he'll join, and he doesn't have to necessarily be a landed character for that. Giants inheritable. I'm not that deceitful, Callus. Again, as much as tempting the offer is, but I'll just say that I shall be rewarded with the place in my household. So I'll just pay the man, okay? And he'll be here. There's other ways to imprison. They just kicking him out. I mean, he may never know that he'll be wandering, or he's off to Tamil Nadu or somewhere, and I can't get him. Because he needs to pay what he owes. Need to pay what you owe. As the last petitioner departs, various courtiers follow him out of the room, having business to attend elsewhere. Others remain, talking amongst themselves about the recent proceedings. Soon the ceremonial formality of the proceedings is dropped away entirely, with the hum and bustle of the normal courtly life taking its place. My business here is done. There's the new castle holding. We gave it to this man, the Udaya. And also, he's out of there. He went over there. And we took the gold. That's right. Again, one day, you will pay what you owe. Here's another event from Friends of Us. A poetic friendship. Vijayabahu, my dear friend, is once again reminded of your victory against Iraya. So I decided to write a poem about your triumph. What else says? Clearing his throat. Quarrel in Vijayabahu, or in this case, Sri Lanka or Tambapanni. A work of poetry is dedicated to Agarada Vijayabahu's victory over the worthless Iraya of Chola, written by Vijayabahu's good friend, Buddha. Villains they smite, and enemies they slay. None are so blighted as this hero's prey. Our hero rides out, as his all has been steeled, and to show the foe that there's no thick enough shield. Inventory artifact. Send a copy so that he knows, just to make him my rival. But I shall put it on display in my court, so this will be made into a court artifact instead. So I'd rather have him to be my best friend. So yes, wrote an epic poem about the achievements. That's the strong bond of friendship that we have. Thank you so much. And why have you not patronized the monastery? Why haven't you done that yet? Oh good, a pedestal item. See that? Now it's on display. Just a tiny bit of prestige gain, and a tiny bit of tyranny loss. Even though I do not plan on doing anything tyrannical for the time being. Costs less to build a city, but it costs more to build a temple because of this current phase we're in. Hey, switch to the last one. And it is not yet under full control. Because it's full control here, and soon Anuradhapura will be controlled. Then this follows. Itchy, itchy, itchy. My head is really itchy all of a sudden. Really terribly itchy. I'm in the middle of a meeting right now and I shouldn't be scratching my itch. Either way. I need to scratch my head. Right now we're just awaiting for this so I can get this perk and then move on to stewardship and go for wealth focus. Since the lack of my Radha-footed is not unknown for his interest in venery, brings rumors of beasts spotted my room. I'm hearing much talk from the Radha and his death. It said there are excellent prospects for hunting thereabouts, with many worthy rows seen roaming the forest. Interesting. But, however, do not hunt. That leads to purification. How much? 3. Actually, that's not that terrible. It's tempting as it is, but it affects for any character involved, and this would contribute further. So if I were you, don't do it. Unless the accumulation phase is far in the lead. What did you do earlier this year? That caused that big increase. Second character to have done Ravideva. You did the Pilgrimage to Sri Pada. Oh, that's what you did. Plus another reason why I decided not to get rid of him. I'm trying to learn Tamil from him. Offer a hostage. Why on earth would I want to do that? I can pardon, can move from prison. Oh, I forgot about stationing a men-at-arms. Huh. Let me station everybody here. Actually, no. I saw this way is much better. That here. And this. Over there. We're not increasing the size of our men-at-arms because the income is too low. So, I don't aspire to be gunner or overseer, but instead we're going more towards wealth focus. War, honor, loyalty are all means and end. Gold. I already have some prior stewardship experience, but at least all this, including that exalted warlord thing, helps. So glad that I took that university visit. So there you go, increased monthly income, even with giving the land away to the Buddhist land grants. It's a wonder how this place has its own university. How much is it to send a child to the university? It's gold related. Plus we don't have a physician. Anybody qualified? Oh, found one. But first, my precious Tamil notes are scattered all over my study, and the ink-soaked raven is still flapping its wings all over. How did it even get here? Who covered it in ink? A letter for you, my Agarada. I turn around and snatch some messages everything. A real shame of what happened to your notes, but to look on the bright side. Your writing is already similar to crow's feet. Regards, Kanpal, the eccentric. He left over there. I'll just say my notes. No! So much work. Gone. Lose progress. 17 months! He sabotaged my efforts to learn the Tamil language, that eccentric fool. He went to Cholamandalam. And anyways, Agabode Rajapaksa. Never thought I would hear that name, Rajapaksa. If any of you Sri Lankan viewers know who I'm talking about, yeah, just be glad that that man isn't ruling, isn't president. You know, in case you Western viewers may not know, which I'm only going to say this once. It's just part of an ongoing economic crisis in Sri Lanka, and of course most of those policies was blamed on Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who is, I mean, over a year ago, he's no longer president, and all that. So yeah, the less said about it, the better. But anyways, Mogalama has shown curiosity of his ancestry and has grown to be more like the child of House Vijayabahu. He is just like me. Perhaps one day. Food intake sensitivity. Of late, my joints ache so. There's been a certain bruising, inflammation. At the very least, the gathering of waters about the mobile parts of my limbs caused me no little suffering. I have only to hope that it will subside, given time and rest. Ah, that's a little tender. It will surely pass. Start training, Commandus. Private was traveling again. Where are you going? Pilgrimage. Right? University visit. Wow. Major religious centers, what they mean by that. It's the home of the Shabadagon Pagoda. I know that structure. That is the sacred Buddhist stupa built by the Mon people around the year 500. It houses many famous relics such as the staff of Kakusanda, the water filter of Konadamana, and a piece of the robe of Kasapa, and 8 strands of hair from the head of Gautama. One of the wonders of the Buddhist world. I didn't know you would be traveling that far instead of just here locally to learn something great. Look at him go. He's off to learn. Meanwhile, the work I have done building up the relations of the local Middle Eastern community have paid off. They've recently agreed to partner with me in a number of advantageous business deals. Through their networks on the Silk Road, we will surely earn a great profit. The silk must flow, and spices, slaves too, horses, all trade goods really. Minor Silk Road business deal. Well, every little bit helps. Especially now that we all have full control now. Okay. 2 things I'm going to do next. 1. We can improve this to a keep, which is big spending. Okay, that's a little too big. We already have this. Well, every little bit helps to increase tax, but also want to increase the defenses because this is our capital, and it's going to remain so for a very long time. So, 2 things. Well, nah. Build bastions and curtain walls. Yes, it's going towards purification for building in a castle holding. I mean, it's not that severe. Look how close this is catching up. Which is, again, that's mainly due to someone held a large prayer ceremony for like a deity. Convert a county. The prominence, especially Jetavana Monastery, they're just lowered, so that adds towards that. And there is one Buddhist who does not patronize any monastery. I'm looking at you. Why haven't you done it yet? Oh, stomach aches. He's doing all right. We gotta balance things out. In a way. And this is the next act I'm gonna do. Relic Veneration of Tambapanni. As the sacred land of Dharma, Tambapanni is home to a number of important Buddhist relics. There are special religious ceremonies held to honor such relics I could partake in. Which you can lose stress, gain piety, gain prestige, character modifiers depending on the relic, increase prominence for the islands monasteries, especially those you're patron of. Now for context, 1 second. Excuse me. It's from the lunch. Now for context, Sri Lanka is the home to a number of Buddhist relics, most prominently the tooth relic of the Buddha. Controlling it was even seen as a kind of divine right for the island's kings. In modern times, the procession of the tooth relic is arguably Sri Lanka's most famous ritual and celebration, but its present form is actually relatively recent, having undergone many changes over the centuries. Ironically, during the game's time frame, the tooth was initially scoffed at by the Mahavihara, that eventually became the dominant monastery in Sri Lanka, given it was strongly associated with their rivals, the Abhayagiri, and the Mahavihara focused their veneration on other relics, in particular the Bodhi tree in Anuradhapura. Let's plan that. Now look, the Sacred Bodhi Tree. That's for increased prominence for Mahavihara, but decreasing for these two. Buddhist too, same thing for Tambayagiri. And this is what we, Jetavana, should reveal. Dharma Dhatu. So, the Dharma Dhatu, a copy of sacred scriptures and religious commentaries, was provided to the then king of Tambapanni by a devout merchant. Its fame has since grown as a relic of great spiritual power. This will further increase the prominence of Jetavana, especially I'm its patron. Decreased prominence of Mahavihara and Abhayagiri's monasteries. So I may gain either the major veneration, I gain the minor if I'm not its patron, and since I am its patron, major veneration. And also enshrined at the temple of this, if the Sri Lanka Sangha is unified, which is again the end goal of this series. So I have to go to Old Anuradhapura. There's no need for caravan master or any other special things. There's hardly any danger of this travel. So I'll focus on the religious aspect of these ceremonies, doing my best to genuinely venerate the relics. And if anybody wants to come, you may do so. It's just a short trip. No need to worry. The lands are safe again. Now I'm traveling to Anuradhapura to venerate the sacred Dharmadhatu text buried there. Buddhist devotees from all over Tampa have come to this sacred space to venerate this relic as a way to honor the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. As a Theravadan, this will undoubtedly be a wonderful spiritual experience. May the three jewels protect us on our journey. It's only 10 days travel. "49 days till it begins." For all the guests gathered here. Okay, everyone's present. At last, I have arrived in Anuradhapura to venerate the sacred Dharmadhatu text buried there. This religious treatise, which expounds on various theological and philosophical topics, was brought to Tambapanni from India years ago. Since then, the island's Buddhists have revered this profound, inspiring text, as many believe it has great spiritual healing properties, and was subsequently enshrined by a stupa. Nowadays, there is an important ceremony held regularly for the Dharmadhatu, a festival centered on the procession of this relic. I seek to participate in this event in order to benefit from its blessings. Let us rest and prepare for this fest. Throughout Tambapanni, burying or enclosing sacred objects in holy Buddhist sites is an important religious practice. Objects believed to possess sacred importance or power are then venerated in order to remind us about the Buddha and his teachings. The Dharmadhatu is one of the more revered examples of this. It is placed in a special house next to a great stupa, an impressive structure of stone, surrounded by grass and trees. Many devotees, including lay people and monastics, make their way around it daily. Regardless, I'm here to partake in the ritual ceremonies for the Dharmadhatu established long ago. I hope we can begin soon. The chanting of prayers ring in the air, and a march of people and elephants as the procession and worship ceremony begins. We pray to remind ourselves about the importance of the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. As we make offerings to where the Dharma Dhatu lays, I reflect on the Dharma Dhatu while doing so. The text itself expounds on the Trikaya, or three bodies, teaching on the nature, reality, and Buddhahood, found in the Mahayana canon. Some detractors criticize Dharmadhatu's teachings as unorthodox, even heretical, but others believe that spiritual ideas can help and guide all, so it is worthy of veneration. This is an exhilarating ceremony, no doubt. My visit to Anuradhapura to engage in relic veneration has come to an end. What joy, what fulfillment, what peace, what contentment. However, as the Buddha taught, all things are impermanent, including this trip. It is time to go back home and reflect on everything that happened. I'm glad I found time for this, all in all. This is what happens. The prominence increases for the Jetavana by 10, while Mahavihara takes a hit, and Abhayagiri also takes a hit. I gain 15 trade experience in Major Jetavana Patron. This would also help me with the monthly lifestyle experience gain. And of course, lose the traits, lose the stress because I have the zealous trait. And everyone who took part of it gained some piety and merit for it. Our ceremony of the Relic Veneration Tambapanni is over. Through this meritorious deed, we can remind ourselves of the Buddha's teachings and strive to follow and understand them as best we can. Just doing everything I can to keep it more towards the accumulation phase, which is what I'm trying to go for. Journeying through Pano of Pankulam, I passed by a particular looking tent splayed over its more particular looking occupant inside. Come in, O mighty Agarada. I can tell you many miles to travel, many miles to go, and I can offer you a reading of future travels for a modest price. A strange man has piqued interest in my entourage. What am I willing to pay for a reading? I knew a wise man, and yet he wasn't that wise. The amount you gain is fine, so I'll say, tell me, my future wise one. Trial bodes well. I have good omen in the next 5 years. At last, I am finally home. There's nothing better than arriving back in Vijayabahu after a long journey. I look forward to resting some time, but the call of the road beckons ever onward. My entourage reports that we journeyed for 99 days to traverse 5 barrens. Thanks, Siddhartha, I can go back inside. You know, you ought to sign that boy a guardian. Should be me, since he's just like me in a way. I do not have the funds to send him to a university. I receive a missive from, oh gosh, the Rayo Chola again. Claims that Venesaran, my vassal, has requested to support a plot against me. But there is nothing I value more than loyalty. That's why I share this with you. Thankfully, my best friend, Buddha, is there to advise me. I refuse to believe that he would stoop this low. And I asked, So who knows what it might be. I mean, yeah, we have our issues, but I'll say can't be trusted. My vassals will have my support. As I said, that man is a snake. Do not trust him. You know his health is poor. Today, during a private lunch with my spouse, I felt an eerie sensation along my spine suggested that Vijayabahu is not fit to rule. No? Lilavati went on about a long list of shortcomings she finds in my heir, and attempt to persuade me of her sound reasoning. In the knowledge my decision can have important political consequences in the future, and that my spouse will not be at least happy to refuse. I must make mine on this. What, disinherit him? If you disinherit him, that is unjust. This is because my spouse is not compassionate and not forgiving. Neither she is loyal. She's a vengeful woman. So I'll say, I rule here, damn it! So by picking this option, if your character's negative opinion of the heir is either disloyal, sadistic, arbitrary. There's none of these. Okay, an angry spouse for 5 years, and of course this is gonna hurt my skills big time. She's gonna be angry with me for this. And I don't want her to lose the renown, nor the prestige, so I'll take the big penalty. She still loves me though. Speaking of love, well, I mean, I could seduce her, but so that way you could say there's no need to do that. But I gotta finish Tamil before I can start making up to her. She got sick. Any sinful Buddhist rulers? Well, actually, you know, with all the characters involved. Hang on. Ratanda, a free tenant of representing some of my land in Rohan, has pulled an exceptional harvest this season due to his meticulous planning. He wished to use some of his profits to purchase a piece of my estate from me so he could build upon his success and grow more crops next year. I do want more money. If you could pay me in hard coin, the land is his. Oh, that's going to take a long time. Get to work. 17 months' time. How effective we are in bringing things back into control. Sri Janta died of pneumonia. Another business deal. Another minor Silk Road business deal. Glad to see that everybody's working. Needed another bodyguard for this. one morning as I'm getting ready to face the day, my son Moga approached me. Father, we found this while exploring the northern tower yesterday. You should have it. He hands over a small tattered coin pouch. Makes jingling sound. Much obliged. Such a pleasant child. 25 gold. Thank you very much. Why didn't I think of that before? I mean, your stewardship skill isn't as good as it once was because you got an angry spouse. There's no reason to donate to that because that's just pride. Mainly, I believe, but who knows? If I were more richer, I would do that. Trying to get this up to control as soon as we can. Gone fishing. My courtier, Domadina, stops me in the corridor, grinning from ear to ear. In her hands are 2 fishing poles. Come fishing with me today, dear liege. I promise you will love it, she exclaims. It's been a while since I took a break and escaped from the hustle bustle of the Duga. It's from the French and Vos. Yeah, I know who you are. You are the wife of the melancholic, renowned Silk Road merchant. I will catch the fabled white carp, so I'll go on a fishing trip. 40% chance that you have a great trip. 40% chance you catch a giant fish. 15% chance you have a bad time. 5% chance you catch the legendary white carp. Lose stress nonetheless. I catched a giant fish. I caught a giant fish. As the saying goes. When is the High Medieval? 3 years. And you know everything's gonna get more expensive by then. And speaking of expensive, that's just something I just thought of. Just get up to 90 in 2 months, 3 months or so. And then we will no longer have this issue. Okay, 1 more month, then I'll switch over. And now I'm gonna have to do something with my money. Get out of this country and go somewhere. Support Sri Lanka Sangha. Good timing. I was gonna use that money for something. Sex control is no longer an issue now. As much as I would like to gain the lifestyle experience more so I can, you know, get closer to this. No better yet, go this way. You know, reduce cost. That's the idea. I don't know, I'll think about it. You, Dala Matale. I sometimes forget you exist. Of all the vassals here, You're the one I tend to forget, because even though you live next door with me. Show him at once. I accept your generous gifts. Thank you for the run now. Now! Get back to here. Trying to think. What is going on over there? Now support the Sangha. It's every 5 years. This is going to increase the province that this causes all of my counties owned Sri Lanka region gain the wilderness monks or monastic frontier expansion. Popular opinion up in this other way, reduced construction costs while increasing a little bit more control growth. It's chosen at random, mind you. 15 prominence either way. Go for frontier monks. May this bring great men. As the patron of the Jetavana Monastery, I must work together with them to further the cause of Buddhism in Tambapanni and elevate the land's Sangha. Some frontier regions in my territories in Tambapanni lack a large presence of monks. I plan to fund some monastics to move into these areas to extend my authority and that of the Jetavana. I also tend to support the Aranivasi or ascetic forest monks there, since they can assist us in our efforts as they are greatly respected by the locals. In the name of the three jewels, increased by 15 for Jetavana. Spend a lot of money for this. Monastic frontier expansion. Very good. And of course, more towards the accumulation phase. So basically, keep doing at what you're doing. And if need be, switch to a different monastery, which also gains accumulation. You don't always have to support the Jetavana, as I'm its great patron. Good stewardship, reduced construction. At dinner today, I was too eager to eat and burnt my tongue when I tried to get started on the soup. Everyone in the room looked at me, either in alarm or shaking their heads at my folly. Happens to the best of us. We laughed it off. That's my son here. Sanea. It's a fine name. So now you have 2 daughters, son. When you become the Agarada, you're gonna be excellent at keeping things stable, but not so good on other fields. Died of old age. He was from there. This is its new ruler. Who is a... oh gosh. A legitimized bastard, stupid, and a bleeder. But temperate. You have this position. Although I do mention about, I want this man reported to prison. Now see how the people moved from Anuradhapura to Vani. Now, what was I saying? Find me some secrets about him. I would like to find something, get a hook on him and such, even though what I'm doing is a bit unjust. After lots of hard work, I finally learned the Tamil language. Endless hours of practicing recitation, sleepless nights mimicking inflection, countless lessons mastering intonation, but it was all worth it at the end. During my efforts, I looked at right now about Karuna Naga's accent. I'm sure he would be impressed with my results. Of course, the Tamil peasants now respect me a great deal more. Karuna Nandadakan. I was trying to figure out how he say his name. Perhaps I shall send a letter to him. Can I impress him with my knowledge? Stop. You're not past childbearing age yet, and I know you're angry with me, but how about a little bit of, time between us? Hmm? The right word. It was a joy that I hosted, Bodal Rama. Yes, my best friend. My bestest best friend. To pass a blissful morning together. After the lunch, he proceeded in a most conspiratorial tone to tell me about his plans to improve the renown of my bloodline. My interest was piqued, and it was with a smile that I received the news of some hyperbolic comments that were made at different courts to further my friend's plans. Given the state of the whole affair, I must now decide if I'd let Woodall to attempt a real coup in terms of my renown, if I take the advantage of the nation work and earn investment from different foreign nobles, or I simply refuse the whole scheme. The base chance to be successful, if not very low, is not high. I got good diplomacy. Yes, good diplomacy if my spouse wasn't angry at me. However, his good diplomacy skill, and if he has traits of gregarious, he doesn't. Diplomat, he doesn't. He's not arrogant, he's not ambitious, he's not diligent nor shrewd. Will substantially increase my chances. Of course, the higher diplomacy and the more traits, the better. We're both similar, But what's more valuable, renown or the money for an investment opportunity? Or just forget the dang thing. I can get the money by other means, so I'll accept the offer just this once. Because my renown soars. My diplomacy skill is still good enough. The Vijayabahu dynasty is known far and wide as it's insignificant now, no longer obscure. Also for future reference, knowing how important that is. It's not going to tell 1085. But I'll tell you what, I'll switch to another Srinagar Monastery once we get Jetavana around 150, then I'll switch over to my because I kind of want to balance things out. That's my idea for now. What did you do? Oh, you finally have chosen. You've chosen Abayagiri. Okay. But I'm glad it finally took you this many years to decide which monastery you choose to patronize, my friend. Took you that long. For you being indecisive like that. But nevertheless, we'll close this episode soon. Again, it's a more peaceable episode, but it's just to show you some of the other activities that we have not shown here before on this part of the series. And of course, if I do want a little bit more renown, possibly, we can host an ancestor veneration ceremony. If I feel like we'll have some money. Which again, you can do that because certain religions and cultures, they do that sort of thing. Including Buddhists. To venerate ancestors. When do I get to go another? Till 4 years. 8 years. For future references. Not till another 5 years. What secret does the ruler of anime have? Who's the lover of a guest? I don't care about that. I want something more than that. But nevertheless, this is partly the reason why this series and the rest of this series is going to be far different than any of the past ones I've did. I am no longer interested in territorial expansions. Assume the rest of the series that I will not expand towards India or anywhere else. But if I'm allied with other countries, I'd be willing to intervene in other matters. Like say Pagan, which is, there's a fellow Theravada Buddhist there. There's also a patron there. But however, he's not an involved character. I mean, yes, this leads to a purification phase for what I just did, but you need to build buildings, you know. And I assume he did the same thing, what little act that he did. Actually, no, it's due to the fact that he's generous. And a purification just jumped up big time again, because this is going to keep happening. Due to the fact of, let me see. Convert a county. Who's been converting? We know you haven't. Perhaps it's you. No, he hasn't been doing that. Ah, yes. He wanted to turn this land Theravada. This was Hindu land once. Well, mainly Srikula Shaktism, which they become minorities now. Okay, that's one of the reasons. And the other is, who holds a title? Small seat barony. Title. Okay. For those involved, who is not a patron? That's me, dummy. Patron. 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 Again, Hindus don't count. Patron. 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 Not a patron. Not a patron. Although, to be fair, they're mercenary captives, so we can't do anything about that. You're not a patron. Yet. As you are young. There are no interlopers. And with that, this will let time tick along a little bit. So, yeah, that's pretty much what we have to do for this great part of the series. And the only way to end the struggle is to unite the Sangha by reaching the prominence to any of these monasteries up to 900. Which the choice is all mine. And thank you for the additional tax. I'll be sure to spend that money, which will be in the next episode. Because this is still early in the series and we still have a long way to go towards the next phase and wait for the prominence of each of these monasteries to go up. And as I'm poring over the ledgers that detail my income from my vassals, the numbers don't add up. The rigid Udaya Perikasaripama of Yakala, the man I appointed him there, has me for a fool and has been paying too little. He must pay his due. So, 6% chance that he pays what he owes me, 5, and I suspect he's still withholding the money, which is fine. But still, 300 stewardship lifestyle experience. He's still withholding the money, you bastard. So we'll end this episode on January 1st, 1077. And, okay, last. It's time for a break from Lagana's routine master plan. I think it may be a good time to pass along some of the values of House Vijayabahu. Listen, one day you're going to rule this land, and you are, and as I am a just man, I would say I'll hone this skill by our house's tradition. 92% increases in martial, 5% increase in diplomacy, 1% resist less. I'll gain some stress for this, but every little bit helps. So we hope you people have enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. But until then, so long for now.